Welcome back to Studio 86. We're going to be diving deep into how to make social media videos that really grab attention, those first few seconds.
Oh, yeah, that's make or break time, right?
Yeah,
Especially on platforms like Instagram, TikTok. I mean, people, they see so much, they decide so fast whether to keep watching or just.
swipe away. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So we're going to be talking about 5 key things you can do to make sure your videos, they actually get watched. So, viewers stop scrolling and actually watch them.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's start with the very first thing people see, that first frame. That's got to be, like, visually powerful, something that just stops people in their tracks.
So instead of just saying, make it eye-catching,
Yeah.
how do you actually do that? What are some ways to really make an impact right away?
Well, I mean, imagine, right, like, you open with a close-up of someone and they're, like, genuinely surprised.
Ooh, I see.
Like raw emotion that pulls you in. Or what about like a fast montage, like visually striking things happening, bright colors, captivating landscapes, or like really interesting graphics.
So it's not just about just being pretty, but it's really about like using those visuals to kind of evoke a reaction.
Yeah, like an immediate whoa, what's this?
And that brings us to, I think, the second key takeaway. We've talked about this before. It's the hook.
The hook. Yeah.
Like, you know how a good movie trailer, it always leaves you wanting more.
Yeah,
Your video needs to do that too.
definitely.
It's got to make people curious.
Yeah, like a question mark hanging in the air. You need to know the answer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It could be like a question that really makes you think,
Yeah.
or a really bold statement, or even just a scenario that just makes you go, well, what happens next?
Exactly.
So, for example, let's say you're doing a travel video.
Yeah.
Instead of just starting with a boring shot of a plane taking off,
Right.
what if you open with, like, you're standing on the edge of a cliff?
Oh, wow.
The caption is like, "This is how I conquered my fear of heights."
Ooh, that's good.
Now you've got me. I'm like, all right, I got to see how this happens.
I'm hooked. I need to see the rest. Yeah.
Right.
And that keeps people watching. Okay, now this next point might seem a little counterintuitive because everyone wants things instantly these days,
Right.
but it's all about keeping it brief.
Oh, so getting to the point.
Yeah. People just don't have long attention spans. If
Yeah.
you don't grab them in those first few seconds, they're gone. On to the next video.
It's like an elevator pitch.
Yeah.
You got to get the message across fast and make it count.
That's it. So think about it. Every second, it's valuable. So instead of like these long introductions or, going on and on, just deliver that core message. Make it punchy. Make it clear. And that kind of brings us to point number 4, which is about movement. Making your video dynamic.
Yeah, because who wants to just look at a static image, right?
Exactly. I mean, our eyes, they're naturally drawn to movement. So instead of just having still images or like a talking head the whole time, think about like, dynamic text that's moving, animations, even like fast cuts between different scenes.
And this is where, good editing really comes in.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like you're creating a rhythm.
A visual rhythm.
Yeah, that keeps people engaged.
Imagine you're watching like a cooking video and it's just ingredients laid out.
Okay.
Now imagine like quick cuts, chopping vegetables, spices flying in the pan, and then, the final dish, beautifully plated.
Yeah, that second one sounds way more interesting.
It just grabs you, right?
Yeah.
It's about like having that visual energy that matches the whole fast-paced world of social media.
Okay. Now, our fifth and final point. I think this is super important because, so many people are watching videos on the go.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And a lot of times they're watching without sound. So we got to optimize for like silent viewing.
Yeah, people scroll through their feeds with the sound off.
All the time.
All the time, yeah. So you got to make sure your message comes across, even without any audio.
Yeah.
So think about using captions, bold text, or even like telling a story visually, without relying on the sound.
It's almost like you're creating a little silent film
Exactly.
where the visuals, they're doing all the work.
They're telling the story.
So like, for example, if you're showing a product,
Right.
use really clear visuals.
Yes, visual cues.
Text
Yeah.
that even without sound, people get what you're trying to show.
Exactly.
So, we've covered a lot, but it seems like the main thing is to be really intentional about every choice you make.
Absolutely.
From the first frame to the very last thing people see, everything has to work together.
You got to think about the viewer's time. You only have those few seconds. You really got to make them count.
Yep, absolutely. Make a good impression.
Exactly. Make it memorable. It's like almost like a haiku, visual haiku.
Ooh, I like that.
Concise, it evokes something. it's impactful.
Okay, so we talked about what to DO, but what about things we should not do? Like, what are some common mistakes people make?
The pitfalls, yeah. Even people who, who've been doing this for a while, they can fall into these traps.
Right, right.
One of the biggest ones, I think, is trying to cram in too much information.
Oh, information overload.
Yeah. You want to tell everything in 30 seconds, a minute.
It's like a slideshow, but each slide is only up for a split second.
Exactly. And then people are just like, wait, what? They get overwhelmed. It's like drinking from a fire hose.
How much?
Yeah. Too much all at once. So how do we find that balance? We got to give enough information, but not scare people away.
Right.
It's about quality over quantity. So focus on just one core message and then present it really clearly. And hopefully people are like, okay, I want to learn more. They're not just, overloaded.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Another mistake I see a lot is being too salesy.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that friend who only calls when they need something.
Exactly. Yeah. You're not building trust that way. You're not building engagement.
You're just trying to sell, sell, sell. It's like those old infomercials.
But wait, there's more.
Exactly. It feels fake and it's off-putting.
It is. It is. So instead of just, features, benefits, all about the product, try to connect with people. Tell a story,
Yeah.
Talk about a problem that they might have and show how your product actually helps them.
Right. Like build a relationship, not just like a transaction.
Exactly.
Okay. Speaking of connections, another mistake is forgetting that different platforms are different.
Oh, yeah. Huge.
What works on TikTok might not work on YouTube, right?
Totally. Like wearing a tuxedo to the beach.
Exactly. It's just each platform has its own vibe.
Yeah.
What people expect. Even just the technical stuff is different.
Right, like TikTok. It's all about quick, short, catchy. Instagram, maybe a little more polished.
Or visual, yeah.
Yeah, aesthetic. YouTube, you can go a little longer.
Longer form, yep.
And then LinkedIn, it's got to be more professional.
So it's not just about making a good video. It's about making the right video for the right place.
Absolutely. So do your research, figure out, what works where, and then tailor your content to that.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, last mistake, and I think this is a big one, is not paying enough attention to design.
Design, yeah. It's a visual world out there. Aesthetics, they matter.
It's like the difference between a handwritten note and a beautifully designed card.
Yeah, they both get the message across. But one of them, you can tell someone put more effort in.
Right.
Think about it. Would you trust a company with a website that looks like it's from 1995?
Probably not.
No, it's the same with videos. High
No.
quality, it shows you're professional, it makes your content more appealing.
More trustworthy.
Yeah. So what are some practical things people can do to improve the design of their videos?
Yeah, what are some tips?
Basics are important. Lighting, sound, make sure your editing is clean. There's some free tools out there. Canva, that's a good one. You can make graphics, text, that kind of thing. And don't be afraid to ask for help from a professional. Sometimes, a fresh perspective that can make all the difference. So we've talked about a lot today, both good and bad.
Lots of strategies.
How to get attention, and then the mistakes to avoid.
The do's and don'ts.
Yeah, from that first frame to the hook to optimizing for silent viewing.
Right.
Different platforms, everything.
It's like a crash course in social media videos.
And really, I think the most important thing to remember is be intentional.
Okay.
Every single choice, think about it. Visuals, sound, the whole message you're trying to get across, it all has to work together. It's about, respecting the viewer's time. You only have a few seconds. You got to make them count.
Absolutely. Well, before we wrap things up, any final thoughts, any words of wisdom for our listeners?
Yeah, definitely. I would say, start by just looking at some of your favorite videos, like the ones you really enjoy watching.
Okay.
And think about those 5 key things we talked about. What makes them so good? What grabs you right away in those first few seconds? How do they use the visuals, the sounds, the whole story?
That's smart. It's like learning from the best.
Yeah. Reverse engineer it. Figure out what works, and then you can, use those same techniques in your own videos.
Makes sense.
And don't be afraid to experiment. Try different things. See what works for you.
Yeah, find your own style.
Exactly. Have fun with it.
All right, well, I think that about wraps it up for this deep dive. Hopefully everyone's feeling inspired, ready to go out there and make some awesome social media videos.
Absolutely.
Remember those first few seconds. They're so important. Make them count.
Golden seconds.
And if anyone's looking for help with their videos or maybe wants to learn more about using AI in video production,
Oh, yeah.
reach out to us at Studio 86. We're here to help.
We love helping people bring their vision to life.
All right, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in.
See you next time.